Las Vegas Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome to the 1999 United States National Wrestling Championships. Hello, everybody. I'm Lon McCarran, and there are many wrestling championships that are held throughout the nation all year long, but it is this one that brings together the best from colleges, clubs, and armed forces to determine who is the best in their weight class in the land. Pleased to be working alongside Jim Shear, a World Cup champion, Olympic wrestler, and a silver medalist at the World Championships. Jim, an action-packed night ahead for us tonight, both men's and women's freestyle and men's Greco-Roman wrestling. Let's start with the women's freestyle, first of all, and the name that pops out is Tricia Saunders.
Yes, Tricia Saunders, a pioneer for women's wrestling in the United States. She has 8 national titles to her credit, never lost in a national championship. She's going for a 9th tonight. Women's wrestling has developed, but she's still dominated. Almost as big a name in men's Greco-Roman is Dennis Hall. He and James Grunwald will face off once again for the title. Now, Dennis Hall is a world champion and Olympic silver medalist. He's been on top for 7 years, but Jim Grunwald was second 3 years in a row now. He's really hungry for the title. He's gotten closer every year. In fact, he took 1 match off of Dennis in the best of 3 last year, so that'll be a really tough competition. This could be a very momentous night for many reasons, but perhaps most so because it returns Terry Brands to competition, and he's right back in there in the finals. Yes, Terry Brands was injured in 1997, couldn't compete in the World Championship. Coming back this year after a year off in 1998, he's hungry for the title, but Tony Perler's been on top for 2 years. Once you establish yourself on top, he's not going to let that go easily. A lot of heavyweight action happening tonight, and that is a match that everybody is pointing to, Stephen Neal and Tom Erickson. Well, Stephen Neal, one of the most dominant college wrestlers of all time, coming out from the NCAA championship this year, is going to challenge Tom Erickson, who's been right around the top for 10 years. So we've got the new guard versus the old guard. It should be really exciting. Maybe the new champion looking at an old champion. We had a chance to talk to both Neal and Erickson just a short time ago.
Stephen's just that young stud. I mean, he hasn't been tested in college, and you know, I think he's looking forward to the Open to finally have someone test him and see how good he really is.
I'm going to have to wrestle really smart. He's bigger than I am, and he's more powerful. So I'm just going to have to be like a cat in and out and use my quickness.
Well, those heavyweights are coming up in just a little bit. Right now, we have the men's freestyle 128-pound championship on the mat. That man, Tony Perler from Clarion, Pennsylvania, 29 years old, defending national champion, taking on Terry Brands from Iowa City, Iowa, 31 years old, a 2-time world champion. And it is Terry's return to competition after injuries forced him to sit out really 2 years. Lon McCarran along with Jim Shear, joined also in this match by Kendall Cross, Olympic champion from '96, an NCAA champion from Oklahoma State. And Kendall, you beat Terry Brand in the Olympic trials in '96. You know a little something about this man, don't you?
Yes, a little bit. I think I know a little bit about both of them. They're both extremely tough competitors. I do feel that Terry has an advantage in the situation. It's, you know, as obvious his record has proven, and he's 2-time world champion. So I think it's a very tough match here.
But, you know, I know how it was for you, Kendall, and going for several years trying to reach the top of the hill and overtake the #1 guy. Terry Brands finds himself in the unique position of having to try and regain his spot as a #1 athlete.
Yeah, I see that too, but I also see that, you know, given that he didn't make the '96 team, that his hunger would still be there pretty strong.
Tony Perler, as I mentioned, beating Euro Washington last year to win the title. He also defeated Washington this year in the semifinals to gain way into the finals. 3 technical falls and a decision for Perler to work his way into the finals. And there a throw for Terry Brand, but it was a turnaround by Tony Perler and a 3-point move.
Tony Perler is a dangerous wrestler. You can find him, he can score in any position.
Trying to turn Brands now.
It looks like Brands is going to score 2 off this technique, and that's not a good move by Tony. That's a big mistake in that match, because he'd staked himself to a big 3-0 lead and put Terry in a hole, and now he gave it right back.
He did indeed. 2 points now to Terry Brands, and actually it was Brands who initiated all of that action. And as it comes out, Perler 3-2 with the advantage. Under a minute to go in the opening period. Terry Brands returned to competitive wrestling here at the Las Vegas Convention Center in the 1999 U.S. National Wrestling Championships. He's probably had a few good workout partners through the room in Iowa, too.
You can be sure, especially his brother Tom. And Terry is really grinding on top, got 2. His strength advantage over Tony might be telling in this match.
I think so. I think Terry Brands is probably the strongest competitor at this weight class, bar none, I think, in the world. Just extremely hard to deal with. He holds you off, just very strong.
He really is a very typical Iowa wrestler, and he just puts so much pressure on you and always coming forward, banging your head. And that kind of pressure is difficult to stay with.
Right. You really can't ever gain an advantage on him because he's constantly banging pressure and pressure.
And the pressure resulted in 2 more points for Terry Brands, and he now leads 4-3. 6 seconds to go in the opening 3-minute period. Brands over Perler. Brad Penrith is in the corner with Tony Perler here in Las Vegas.
Brad coached Tony at the University of Nebraska when Tony won his NCAA title.
That is the end of the 3 minutes. Back with more wrestling at Las Vegas Convention Center in the 99 U.S. National Wrestling Championships right after this. To the Las Vegas Convention Center and the National Wrestling Championships. And here is the action that actually ended up scoring 5 points, 3 for Perler and 2 for Brands. You see Brands go for the shot, then take us through it, Jim.
Well, Tony just caught Terry coming in too aggressive and whipped him through. Really a good move for Tony, and it's going to make Terry think twice about taking that aggressive double the rest of the match.
And then it was Terry Brands in that same exchange who got exposure right there against Perler. But when Perler took Brands from his feet to his back, it was the 3-point move.
And he really got his knee in too deep and let Terry catch the knee and catch him on his back in that gut wrench situation.
Now we begin action in the second period. Terry Brands in the red with a 4-3 lead.
The referee called for a point on the edge, but the crowd didn't like it, and it wasn't confirmed. Terry really is a proponent of conditioning and wearing out his opponent, so we'll see how Tony fares under that pressure late in the match.
I think what Tony's got to do is really try to get Terry on close to him, stand him up, make it to where Terry can't take those shots, those direct, straight-on shots and run through him.
I think what you're seeing here, though, Terry is really shooting low, and he did get the confirmation on that point, so Tony will go down. New rule this year, you go down, point on the edge. But what he's attacking him is below the knee, and Tony cannot pull him up and counter. And if he gets him in the mid-level around the upper thigh, then he can counter.
So it's a 5-3 lead now for Terry Brands. And he and his twin brother Tom, people say, look so much alike. Sometimes the only way you can tell them apart, maybe that angered look in the eye of Terry, maybe the more nasty of the two, perhaps.
Well, definitely definitely the hungrier of the two. You know, Tom has achieved his goal at this point, and Terry's after his now. So, you know, I could definitely see the fire in his eye, and it very well should be there.
Yeah, Tom has moved on to coaching. He's an Olympic champion in 1996, and Terry's going to stay in the sport and try and get that Olympic gold medal in 2000. But standing in his way is Tony Perler at this time.
Absolutely. Not only here, but down the line. Terry Brands trying to set the stage, send a message to Tony Perler. They'll be meeting each other numerous times between now and Olympic year 2000.
Even though Terry's in a dominant position, this is where you need to watch Tony Perler.
That's exactly right. He is dangerous from just about anywhere. You know, Tony Perler can take you to his back while he's on his back.
Dane Gable in the corner of Terry Brands.
Been there a number of times.
Yeah, he has. And Terry and Tom are really two of the favorite athletes that Dan has produced over the years because they exemplify his style and his drive so much.
You know, I'm surprised not to see Gable moving much in the corner. I see him twisting and turning. Maybe he's got more confidence in Terry.
Well, I think Terry's handling the match at this point. You know, that Tony's had one big move, which makes the match seem close, but really Terry's handling the match.
Yeah, there's some fire in the eyes of Tom right now. You see that?
They're a little bit concerned. 2 points is a little too close to be with Tony because one 3-point move would put him back ahead.
Exactly right.
We're going to hopefully have Tom Brands in our broadcast booth in just a little bit to share his thoughts on some of the action here at the U.S. Nationals. Right now, joining us is Kendall Cross.
Really, probably the best match that I have ever seen, or best series of matches that I've ever seen, were the 3 matches of Terry Brands and Kendall Cross in the 1996 Olympic trials. Just outstanding.
It was a little stressful for me.
A little bit.
I didn't enjoy it as much as everybody else did.
You can enjoy it now, though, when you open that drawer and see the gold medal.
Absolutely.
Really a credit to Terry Brands, though, to stay in the sport, come back, and go for his gold medal in 2000.
Sure, it would only be right. You know, I think that he definitely deserves it. And it was just unfortunate that only one of us could go, because he definitely deserves a medal himself.
Do you root for this guy now, Kendall?
Yes, I do.
Can you afford to do that?
I do. I have a great respect for this man.
15 seconds left. I think he's just going to try and close it out here and take a 5-3 win.
Hey, well, you have to be impressed with his defense. He's certainly got an alarm clock going off in his head after that three-point move by Perler. And that is the end of the action. And it is Terry Brands returning to the mat, getting a national champion into the family one more time. Tony Perler, none too happy. There's Tom Brands. Dan Gable celebrating the victory as well. Terry Brands with a 5-3 victory over Tony Perler. And maybe, no, I thought he was limping there for a second, Kendall, but he looks fine indeed. Quickly, what do you think about his performance?
Well, I thought he looks good. You know, one move really put Tony on the board. And, you know, like us, we talked about earlier, that's the type of wrestler Tony is. He's very dangerous. He can score a lot of points with one move.
And there you see Tony Perler a little bit unhappy with things that transpired. Terry Brands right now with Jim Shear.
I know the match went your way, but you weren't entirely happy with it. Tell me how you felt on that move. You got a little bit high, and he was able to whip you through for 3.
That's exactly what happened. I got high. It was in on my shot. It's my shot. It's my damn shot. I got to finish it. I'm really upset with it. You don't get very many opportunities like that. And I go down 3-0 on my offense.
What I was impressed with was you were able to get your focus back, come back, really wrestle smart, stay below his knees the rest of the match, and come out with a win.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I've worked on the last couple of years is staying focused. You know me as well as anybody does. You know, that's been a lot of my downfall, is not staying focused when things don't go my way. You know, I had 3 or 4 calls from the referee that could have went my way, and neither one of the other judges confirmed it, so I didn't get it, and I felt I did a good job of just paying attention where I needed to be on the mat, and that's, I give myself credit for that, but there's no way I should be out of position in that double leg, no way.
Well, we talked about the fire in the eyes of Terry Brands. There you saw it right there, unhappy even in victory. A point here in the second period sealed things against Tony Perler, and Terry Brands returns to the mat after a 2-year layoff to win the 1999 U.S. National Wrestling Championships at 128 pounds against Tony Perler. Back with more from Las Vegas. Welcome back to the 1999 U.S. National Wrestling Championships from Las Vegas, Nevada. Men wrestling now in Greco-Roman style at 128 pounds, just beginning the second period of action. Dennis Hall in the red taking on James Grunwald in the blue. It is a rematch many, many times over. The last 2 national title matches. Dennis Hall is a 7-time U.S. national champion. He has a 3-0 lead over Grunwald right now. Lon McCarron along with Jim Shear, again joined by Kendall Cross. Kendall, before we go much further, folks don't see a lot of Greco on television. Explain the basic differences between Greco and freestyle.
Well, the largest difference is you can't attack the legs. These two gentlemen are fighting upper body, and that's all they're allowed to do is to attack upper body. They're looking for throws, they're looking for arm spins, front headlocks, positions where they're not attacking the legs at all.
Had a huge 3-point throw at the beginning of that period by Dennis Hall. And you saw something that's new this year. They went into what's called the clinch. There's no score in the first period. They start the second period in a clinch. Both wrestlers are locked up upper body. And if you unlock your hands, your opponent gets a point. But Dennis Hall got the throw, and he just gets a gut wrench here.
You saw the turn. He had Grunwald back to the mat. Doesn't need to be much, just a flash. And so suddenly is it a 5-0 lead, all coming in the second period for Dennis Hall.
You know, in a match like this, you have 5 points. That is a very large lead, especially when you get 2 very equal opponents in a Greco-Roman match, because it's very hard to gain position and get a point on the board. So 5 points, that would be the equivalent to about 4 touchdowns ahead in football.
I'm curious, Kendall, that we talked, Grunwald and Hall have been wrestling each other since, I think, junior high, perhaps even earlier, never has he been able to break through, except once last year. Grunwald beat Hall in the 98 trials. What happens to the mindset of a guy who has not beaten an opponent?
Well, I mean, it can go two ways. One person might take it in a direction to motivate them. Another person might take it to where it kind of hurts them and it brings them down. They're not able to recover from it. I like to think that Grunwald is the one who it motivates him to come back and to come and have a chance against him. And I think it looks that way. Grunwald has beaten him now. He beat him last year, and so now he knows he can do it. Whether he does do it, we'll see. But he's definitely got his hands full, and he believes he can.
Under a minute now to go in this matchup. Men's Greco-Roman, 128 pounds. Dennis Hall in the red and the black has a 5-0 lead on James Grunwald.
Yeah, 5-0, as Kendall mentioned, is almost an insurmountable lead. But last year, Jim Grunwald had a 5-0 lead on Dennis Hall, and Dennis scored 5 right toward the end of the match in the last few seconds and was able to come back and win. So we'll see if Jim can do that this year.
Dennis Hall has had many roads here to the finals, many decisions. He's had actually a pen, a disqualification, a technical fall, and a decision, all in victory into the finals. 2 tech falls and a decision for Grunwald to work his way here to the championship match.
Now, I really feel Grunwald, he's a product of the resident program at the United States Olympic Training Center, and I really believe that program has brought him to where he is. And it shows in a lot of the Greco athletes. They've had a program there now for several years, and they're really starting to come on the international scene. We're starting to have world champions. We're on the verge of having Olympic champions there. Hopefully Dennis could possibly be the next one. He had a disappointing loss at the last Olympics after winning a world title the year before. So hopefully he'll be in a situation where he can win.
And there are some face-to-face words as Dennis Hall does complete his victory over James Grunwald by a 5-0 score. And some nasty words said at the end between the two friends. I think they may have cleared it up. But a scene that has been repeated now 8 times. Dennis Hall is again national champion here at 128 pounds. No scoring through the first 3 minutes, and then finally 5 points in the second 3 minutes to come through with his shutout win over his longtime nemesis and partner James Grunwald. Here, after it was 3-0, Dennis Hall had hold of Grunwald. There, the final 2 points made it 5-0. Our thanks to Kendall Cross for joining us. Right now, our winner, Dennis Hall, is with Jim Shear.
You a little heated there, little words at the end of the match.
Yeah, we're rushing, and he's coming at me, and he expects me not to do anything back. Too bad. Take what you give. That's the way I look at it.
Congratulations on a nice win.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
All right, so Dennis Hall, who has blown away many an opponent here at the Nationals and elsewhere around the world, well, blows a kiss to the fans here. Congratulations to him. Back with more from Las Vegas. We have on the mat 2 special wrestlers in the women's division, 112 pounds. Tricia Saunders in the red and in the black from Phoenix, Arizona, a 3-time world champion. She takes on Melissa Sherwood, 3 times a runner-up here at the Nationals. Through the first 6 minutes of action, it's 1-0 Saunders over Sherwood with a minimum of 3 points needed for a win in regulation. Now in a 3-minute overtime period. Saunders, if you're scoring as a boxer, may have won the first round. Sherwood the second round, but only 1 point has been scored so far. There is Townsend Saunders, Tricia Saunders' husband. Townsend, an Olympic silver medalist in 1996. His wife has never lost a match in this event. 8 times a national champion, but may be facing her toughest battle so far.
Yeah, I'm really surprised this match has gone the way it has. Trish scored early, but Melissa has really come back and been the aggressor since then. And she has another passivity call on Trish, so she's really hung in here well and has a chance to win.
Due to the scoreboard and how it looks now, 1-0, Jim Shear, explain what happens if it remains this way through this 3-minute overtime period.
If it remains 1-0 after the overtime, Trish would win because she would have the advantage with a point. Although she may get another one here. If she scores 3, it's over. You have to score a minimum of 3 points to end the match before the overtime. But if everything's equal, they'll continue to go and try and see who scores a point or gets a caution against their opponent.
Unlike what we have seen in international competition, a new rule instituted this year in overtime, if it is tied or if there's a scoreless tie, both wrestlers are basically disqualified, no points for the team, but they need to find a winner here, and they will go overtime. They'll go to double overtime. They've had a 13-minute match so far in these nationals, and so they will wrestle until there is a winner.
Yeah, because of our ranking system and the importance for the national team, we've decided to wrestle the matches out. She got 2 on the tilt there, and that would be it if it's confirmed.
If it's confirmed. So far, nothing confirmed, but the referee did make a 2-point call, and if it is confirmed on that side, and there is a 2-point confirmation. So with that, Tricia Saunders does come up with the 3 points necessary. It took overtime, 1:23 to go. But Tricia Saunders again repeats as national champion. Here's a look at the tilt that Tricia Saunders performed against Melissa Sherwood. Got the exposure on the back. 2-point move. It was confirmed, and Tricia Saunders a 3-0 winner over Melissa Sherwood. A 9-time national champion is Tricia Saunders.
How long do you think you can keep this up?
I don't know. After that last one, I think my end of my career might be a little closer. I don't like that very much, but I know that I trained really well. I'm in really good shape right now, and I just take it, practically week by week. As long as it stays fun and I'm having a good time, I'm going to do it. But I've accomplished what I want to accomplish in wrestling, and the rest of it's just for the fun of it. And so, it wasn't the most fun out there today, but I had a good time coming here. I'm glad I came.
Great. Congratulations.
We'll be back with more from Las Vegas, Nevada in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Las Vegas and the U.S. National Wrestling Championships. Lon McCarron and Jim Shear once again joined by Tom Brands, getting set for one of the highlight matches of the evening. Men's freestyle at 152, featuring that man right there. You saw Lincoln McElravy in the red from Iowa City, Iowa, 2-time world champ, 2-time national champ, 3-time NCAA champ, taking on an old nemesis, Chris Bono from Ames, Iowa, 2-time Sunkist Open champion. He was an NCAA champ for Iowa State back in 1996, and in a major meet has never beat Lincoln McElravy, and their history goes back a long way, Jim Shear.
Yeah, they've wrestled each other so many times in so many close matches, and sometimes it's hard when you've wrestled somebody so much to really get your offense because they know each other so well. It's hard to score.
We begin now the second period of action. No points scored in the opening 3 minutes between McElravy and Bono. Tom Brands, curious how Lincoln is adjusting to a coaching role now with the University of Iowa, the NCAA champion Iowa Hawkeyes.
He's doing real well. He helps the guys in the room, but you got to remember he's a competitor first. He has some unfinished business as well. He was 3rd in the world last year, and his favorite color is gold too. And so you have to be a little selfish there, but he does a good job in the room.
Dan Gable, former head coach at University of Iowa, in the corner, along with current Iowa head coach Jim Zaleski in the corner of Lincoln McElravy.
It's pretty quiet over there right now, really intently studying what's going on. I would have to think this match is probably playing out the way Bono would want at this point.
That's what I was going to say, is Bono right now, he's put himself in pretty good position. And one thing about Bono is you've got to watch yourself on the edge of the mat here. Like right now, Lincoln needs to circle in. And actually, Chris is doing a good job right there.
Yeah, Lincoln needs to be careful as they come flying into
he has to circle.
our announcer's table here.
Now, you talk about this match so far working into Bono's favor, but we've seen Lincoln take his opponent into overtime on purpose, only to know that he is better conditioned. Is that what he can think against Bono?
Well, Bono's a really excellently conditioned athlete as well. I don't think he's going to get tired. And Lincoln not being able to score early really plays in Bono's favor. But Lincoln's an awesome competitor. He'll go hard right at the end all the way through the overtime.
Bono's doing a good job of neutralizing Lincoln.
That's exactly right. I think the contrast of styles, Bono's going to try and win by countering, maybe scoring on the edge. Lincoln's going to win by being technically better. Great shot.
That's a nice shot off the underhook right there. That's kind of what I was talking about. When he goes to the leg and that underhook, he needs to bring both hands to it and drive through it.
With 1:35 to go in the second period, McElravy with the first point on the board.
That's a big point because he can loosen up now and extend a little more risk on his offense.
Bono, on the other hand, maybe has to risk a little bit more.
Exactly. He's got to come at him.
Lincoln, a lot of times you see him on the head there. You see him pulling on the head. I don't see that tonight.
No, he hasn't been up top on the head as much as usual.
He needs to pull that head and keep that head moving.
Could that be perhaps that it hasn't had the effect that he desired over the years against Bono? I mean, you change your style. If you know a wrestler, your opponent real well?
Well, any time that you can move a guy's head, you're doing what you need to do there, and you're controlling him. So
we see Bono doing that now.
It just doesn't seem to be that Lincoln's going to what he does best.
Yeah, he's maybe attacked him a little bit square, a little bit straight up, but not enough motion, not enough multiple attacks.
As a coach, what you'd say to Lincoln is there's too much hand fighting right now.
3 points are a must in regulation to win a match. Right now, 1-0. McElravy on top of Bono. 20 seconds to go. Hey, Bono had his hand caught on the singlet of McElravy. Back to center.
Lincoln's had one problem. He comes into the middle, and when the whistle blows, sometimes he's mentally not quite there, giving up a few quick points. Haven't seen that yet tonight. He's got to look out for that going into the overtime.
Like we've talked about, the big thing with Lincoln is he's got a circle on the edge.
Bobby Douglas, the head coach at Iowa State, where Chris Bono won his NCAA championship.
It's one of Bobby's first athletes there, and I know he has a real strong affinity for Chris, and would like to see him do well and win this title.
And we have moved into overtime, just like that. 3-minute overtime period. Lincoln McElravy and Chris Bono. McElravy in the red with a 1-0 lead. Do you expect to see Lincoln go more offensive, or can he live with this 1-0?
Well, if he gets in position, gets an underhook or gets an angle, he'll shoot. But he's not going to take any major risks.
And Bono was the one taking the risk. McElravy sidestep. He leads 2-0. Bono now has to pull out all the stops. It'll be tough to do down on the mat.
Looks to me like Chris is a little bit arm weary, a little bit tired maybe.
I don't think he's been wrestling as much as Lincoln has either. So he is finding himself in oxygen debt here, perhaps in overtime. And there's the turn.
That's a nice gut wrench there. Driving forward, keeping the elbows locked.
And a 2-point maneuver, and that does do it. Lincoln McElravy with a 4-0 victory over Chris Bono. And it is now a 3-time national champion. We will call Lincoln McElravy. And with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left in overtime, it was McElravy getting the points he needed to become national champion as a men's freestyle wrestler at 152 pounds. And so now the first takedown, we saw McElravy score on Bono. Nice and simple, classic one-point maneuver. And then the second one-point maneuver just worked him through like a bull. McElravy sidesteps Bono and comes up with that second point, and then he got the gut wrench to clinch it in overtime. Lincoln McElravy, again, a national champion, now in Las Vegas. Here he is now with Jim Shear.
I know you've really been working on the parterre position the last year and a half, but it's still risky in overtime to go with that gut wrench.
Yeah, the guys are slippery, and you know, I was looking for it the whole match, but I finally felt like it was finally there, and I guess when you train for something, you got to go out and try it.
Lincoln McElravy came up with a big 2-point gut wrench turn on Chris Bono in overtime to secure another national title for the man out of University of Iowa. Lincoln McElravy, a winner at 152. Back with more of our U.S. National Wrestling Championships from Las Vegas in just a moment. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Ready to go. Men's Greco, 168 pounds. In the red is Matt Lindland from Lincoln, Nebraska, defending and 2-time national champion, 96 World Cup champion in Greco, taking on Keith Syreki from Fort Carson, Colorado. He's a 96 national champion. Syreki in blue and Matt Lindland in the black and the blue Greco matchup. Lon McCarron along with Jim Shear. Our thanks to Tom Brands for stopping by. Good luck to him in the future.
Two similar athletes here, Matt Lindland and Keith Syreki. Both similar body styles, tough competitors. You really like to get after it, so it should be an exciting match.
Again, Greco, he throws and holds above the waist. No leg maneuvers, no single or double shots.
Matt is one of the toughest competitors we've had in recent memory. He, in fact, when he was training with a resident program in Colorado Springs a few years ago, entered and won a tough man contest. You may not want me to reveal that fact, but he was much smaller than most of his competitors, but he made up for it in toughness, mental and physical.
Well, I'm sure all the wrestlers worldwide will cheer him knowing that now, though he may not be happy. It is Lindland on top. A minute already gone in this Greco matchup at 168. Lindland was the 94 Pan Am's game champion.
There's a gut wrench, high gut wrench. Matt has really worked on parterre and is really tough there now.
And a 2-point maneuver for Lindland early in the action.
Just textbook perfect on his execution there. He's going for a lift now.
No points on that.
He's close to getting one, but he really didn't get enough elevation.
Well, Lindland has certainly come out as the aggressor here. Come up with 2 points.
He's a grinder. He really likes to get out and grind his opponents and grind them on top. He's from Lincoln, Nebraska currently, coaching the Cornhuskers.
Wrestled 2 years as a Cornhusker, as did yourself.
A long time ago. He was a little more recent vintage than I, but he was a great competitor there. Went into the national tournament undefeated and had a great career at University of Nebraska.
Siraki having a cut on his lower lip, it looks like, tended to. Siraki was third at the Nationals in 1998. His brother also is a Greco wrestler for the Air Force. Siraki is in the U.S. Army. He's a Armed Forces champion. 3 times, absolutely, an Armed Forces champion.
And he's a member of the world-class athlete program that the Army has. They're training a group of Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestlers in Colorado Springs. And it's a unique program. They have programs in a number of sports, but the wrestling program has been one of the best. Trying to get started here.
Siraki on the bottom, trying to not be controlled by Matt Lindland.
It's a new rule this year that really plays into the wrestling. You see Matt get that high gut wrench again. He wouldn't have been able to do that when they went out of bounds, but because of the injury stoppage, he got to start back on top, and that's a new rule. It really played into his favor.
And now he's looking for that turn again on Siraki, and it looks like he can get it, and he does indeed. It's a 3-point maneuver as Lindland brought Siraki from his feet all the way around to his back.
Back to the gut wrench. You got a lift. You got 3 and 1 and 2 more on the gut wrench. And that's it, 11-0.
It is a technical fall for Matt Lindland, an 11-0 victory. It came with 43 seconds to go in the opening period. And unlike a lot of the matches we have seen tonight, Lindland comes through with a flurry of points in a number of different ways and dominates Keith Siraki. And it is Matt Lindland once again returning to the winner's circle. A 13-0 officially victory over Siraki. Matt Lindland scored enough points to win a number of matches tonight. Well, here is just one of the many gut wrenches that Lindland had on Siraki.
Came back to a high gut wrench and really pulls up and blocks the far knee with his knee. Achieves the leverage to take him over.
And then it was Lindland doing likewise, but he got Siraki up onto his feet.
Yeah, the object is to lift, get your opponent's weight on your thigh, and then throw and elevate. You got 3 and 1 for that maneuver. Great technique.
And Lindland, USA Wrestling Man of the Year in the Greco Wrestling, comes up with a 13-0 victory over Keith Siraki. Back with more in just a moment. Back in Las Vegas, men's freestyle action at 187 pounds. We've just completed the first 3 minutes of it between Les Gutchess in the red and black and Derek Jones. And a couple of quick points from Les Gutchess near the end of the first period. And he worked his way to a 3-0 lead on Derek Jones, just getting control on the big man from Minneapolis. And he got the turn. Les Gutchess, 3-time defending national champion, well on his way to a 4th title from Corvallis, Oregon. He was a 1997 world champion, current World Cup champion. taking on Derek Jones from Minnesota, 97 Montreal Open champion that did not go to college, and he has certainly come a long way without a college program under his belt, Jim Scheer.
He really has. In our elite freestyle program, it's very unusual to see somebody who hasn't wrestled in a major college program or a college program at all. It's really a credit to his determination and his ability for him to have gone as far as he has without wrestling in college.
Les Gutchess in the red and the black. Derek Jones in the all blue. It is Gutchess on top, 3-0. He does have the minimum number of points to win in regulation. 3 is the minimum.
I think that may allow Les to open up a little bit. He's at 3-0. He can take a little bit of risk. Derek Jones is one of the toughest competitors we have in terms of counter wrestling, scoring when Les shoots, and Les does not want to make a mistake and give him a 3-point throw. At this point, Derek has to probably get out of his comfort zone and try and score and erase that 3-point deficit.
Well, he seems to be a man with a personality who will be quite at home with getting out of his safety zone. Just his background of not being in college, going his own way, taking his own route to this championship title at 187 pounds in men's freestyle. And so he does what he needs to do to get the job done.
He does, and he's really laid back on the mat. He's one of those guys that doesn't seem to feel the pressure and really is loose out there and really a good competitor.
Now Gutchess has the right ankle trying to trip up the left ankle of Jones.
Derek relaxed a little bit on top. Les was able to catch the ankle and turn in. He can drive him out of bounds. I think they'll give him 1 for a reversal.
Gutchess wants to get back in the work zone in the middle. Is he going to call the one?
Marty Morgan and Joel Sherritt, coaches at the University of Minnesota. Marty, the assistant coach there, and they're coaching Derek here. Derek is a coach at Minnesota as well.
No point score. There was some talk of perhaps a point going to Gutchess. But the score remains 3-0 with 1 minute and 15 seconds to go.
And they were close to maybe giving Les an escape or a reversal point, but decided against it. Derek is really up against it now. He's got a minute left in this match. He's down 3 points. Les is not an easy guy to score on.
Gutchess with 2 technical falls, a pin, and a decision. It looks like it will be a decision that's going to determine the finals. Derek Jones got here on the back of 2 technical falls, a pin, and 2 wins by decision.
Les is definitely one of the best athletes we have in the United States and one of the best wrestlers. Zeke Jones coaching in Les's corner. Zeke coaching at West Virginia now, and of course was a world champion and Olympic silver medalist for the U.S. One of our greatest lightweights ever.
Half minute to go in this match. Men's freestyle, 187 pounds. The men's heavyweights are coming up next.
And that should be a great match. Les, as I said, is one of our best athletes, but he's competing in one of the best weight classes we have in the world. Really one of the deepest weight classes on the world level.
10 seconds now to go. Les Gutchess just needs to hang on for these final few ticks of the clock to earn himself another national title. Derek Jones he looks like the clock can't tick fast enough for him right now.
Yeah, this match is not going the way he would have liked.
Gutchess is going to be content to hang on, and the clock is gone. 3-0. Les Gutchess, a flurry of activity at the end of the first period, and that earns him another national title, his 4th. It comes in men's freestyle at 187 pounds. The man from Corvallis, Oregon, 2-time NCAA champ at Oregon, defeats Derek Jones from Minneapolis, Minnesota by a final of 3-0. When we come back to Las Vegas, the heavyweights, Stephen Neal and Tom. Las Vegas ready now for the coup de grace of the 1999 U.S. National Wrestling Championships. Men's freestyle heavyweight, Tom Erickson, the 97 national champ, 9 times a runner-up, taking on Stephen Neal, 2-time NCAA champ, just coming off a victory at the championships at Penn State. Could be the new man, Neal, dethroning the old man. We'll see. Tom Erickson, but here to talk about it with us is Bruce Baumgartner. He was the man that Tom Erickson tried to go through many a time in these national championships. Baumgartner, 4 Olympic medals, including 2 golds. And are we going to be safe sitting next to you this close, Bruce, watching Erickson go?
Oh yeah, it's passed me by now. Tom and I had battled out many years, and I see Tom and Steven will be battling it out right now.
This year, the heavyweight class, probably there was more anticipation to watch this tournament than in any year that I can ever remember. With all due respect, Bruce, you were so dominant, you made it a little bit boring. This year, we had 4 unbelievably great athletes at this weight, and these 2 ended up in the finals.
Yeah, this is the deepest year ever. We had 5 great athletes, and these 2 guys definitely wrestled well to get here.
Well, this may be one of the 2 most anticipated matches of the year in wrestling. Number 1, perhaps could have been Stephen Neal and Brock Lesnar from the University of Minnesota at the NCAA championships, which Neal won, and I think rather handily. And now Stephen Neal graduated or about to graduate from Cal State Bakersfield, and now taking on the world, he hopes.
His coaches, Chris Horpel and TJ Kerr from Cal State Bakersfield, and Chris Horpel from Stanford. They're coaching the Dave Schultz Wrestling Club. Steve Neal is wrestling.
Tom Erickson defeated in the semifinals Tolly Thompson, who won this title last year. And it was Stephen Neal taking down Kerry McCoy 6-3 in the semifinals. So both earning their way to the finals on a very tough road.
Tom Erickson's coaches, Joe Corso from Sunkissed Kids.
Tom is definitely much better on top in the past than Stephen Neal, but
Did he get the points, or is Neal going to be turned?
Big throw. Looked like he was going to get 3, and he only got 1.
The 1 for Erickson opens up the scoring.
That was a counter shot off of Stephen Neal's shot. Tom did a very nice job of countering him.
Boy, you saw Erickson just turn him with ease, and now 2 points for Neal. 3-2, Erickson leads. A flurry of activity here with under a minute to go in the first period.
Tom got a great turn, but he gave it right back.
Tom did seem to be in control on that activity.
And Neal has very hard to wrestle on both top and bottom. He's got a lot of length, which gives him some leverage. He's definitely a little taller than Tom.
Tom, is he hurt or tired?
Tom pulled a rib in his semifinal match.
So Tom Erickson continued to be hampered by that rib injury. We'll take a break, and we'll be back to Las Vegas. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Action now continuing at heavyweights in the second period. Stephen Neal beginning to dominate Tom Erickson. He now has a lead of 8-3.
Tom's a competitor. In all the years we've competed, I don't think he's ever given up and not wrestled. He's always finished the matches and gone hard as he possibly could.
Well, you have to give head referee Rick Tucci credit for certainly not wanting his wrestlers injured, but then at the end he left it up to Tom Erickson on whether or not he wanted to go.
Paul, let's go.
And he has to, and he knows that he's been around so long. He knows all the competitors so well. And Rick's concern is first and foremost, for the safety of the athletes. Tom's really hurt.
You can just tell when he moves his body. He's stiff. He's not moving as fluid as he usually does. And Neal's doing a great job of just staying in there battling.
And Neal, I think, could probably shoot harder than he is, could probably be more active than he is. He's not taking the shots that are going to hurt Tom Erickson, but another point right at the end for Stephen Neal. On the heels of his NCAA championship, Stephen Neal is now the heavyweight freestyle champion in the United States with a 9-3 win over Tom Erickson. Not the Tom Erickson that we wanted to see, but he did gut it out, and Stephen Neal is your national title holder now. An impressive performance, and Bruce Baumgartner, we've seen the torch passed once again.
Well, this is the third different champion in 3 years. Tom won it, Tully Thompson won it, now Stephen Neal, and I think we've got a lot of great competitors out there. I don't know if we're changing the torch yet, but it looks like we got a great one in Stephen Neal.
Oh, sir, it's exciting to see the heavyweight division so competitive, and you see a typical point being scored by Stephen Neal on Tom Erickson late in the match. And it is Stephen Neal, a 9-3 win. Bruce Baumgartner, thanks for joining us. Stephen Neal, our newest national titleist, is with Jim Shear.
That was an impressive showing. I know Tom seemed a little bit hampered by his ribs out there.
Yeah, his ribs were really bothering him. I tried not to try to go for him too much, but I did what I thought was appropriate.
Stephen Neal is the heavyweight man to defeat from now on. He has come off his college championship to win the national title, driving Tom Erickson out, and he comes up with the 9-3 win. T.J. Kerr, his coach at Cal State Bakersfield, certainly proud of the big man that he has honed into a national champion. Stephen Neal, he is a man who will be in this position for years to come, but once Erickson heals, watch out for him. Some of the other champions that we did not see tonight were crowned here in Las Vegas. The women freestyle champions, Olivia Ocampo at 101 pounds, Stephanie Murata at 123 pounds, Lauren Wolf, Sandra Booker, Christy Stenglein at 165 pounds, a champion. For Greco-Roman, 119 pounds, Stephen Mays from the Armed Forces is your national champion. Glenn Niratka, also for the Armed Forces, a winner at 139. David Zuniga, Quincy Clark, Randy Couture at 214, and the heavyweight is Dramil Byers, also an Armed Forces wrestler. Some of the freestyle we did not see, but still national champions nonetheless. At 119 pounds, Lou Roselli, Carrie Collard at 139 pounds. Joe Williams comes up with a national championship at 168 pounds, and Dominique Black from the Armed Forces, a winner at 214 pounds. So that is going to do it tonight from Las Vegas. The 1999 U.S. National Wrestling Championships are history. For all of our guest commentators, Bruce Baumgartner, Tom Brands, and Kendall Cross, and for Jim Shear, I'm Lon McCarron. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.